year ago, I was given a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to study abroad. For me, a freshie at the time, going to good old land of America was huge. The kind of thing people post about on Instagram, saying with girl boss captions like, living my best life. Hashtag red, white, and blue, hashtag freedom. Let me just quickly take you inside my brain during that week. Picture two voices locked in debate. On one side, there's the scared part of me, whispering, no, Jade, you're too young. What if something goes wrong? What if you get lost? What if you love it way too much and you never want to come back? And then there's the logical side, firing back, bro, you're 15. Wolfgang Mozart had written over 100 symphonies and played in front of the King of France by 15. Little Dutch girls have sailed across the world by 14. You can't even beat Flappy Bird, and you're here whining about a 15-hour flight and mediocre airplane food? Grow up. But no, my scared side won. Instead of saying yes or no, I hesitated. I overthought. I also ghosted the organizers for a whole week, and I don't think they like me very much now. I avoided making a decision for a whole month, paralyzed by fear. Fear of change, fear of failure, fear of stepping out of my comfort zone. I told myself I was way too busy. Like, oh no, I have this super important biology test I just can't skip out on reviewing. I'll just reply later. I never replied. In the end, I missed the opportunity. And worse, I lost sight of who I really was. I felt like a complete stranger in my own body. Not the cool kind of stranger who would just casually stroll in a party with a charming British accent and a leather jacket. No, I was that awkward stranger. The stranger who doesn't know where the bathroom is too terrified to ask, and keeps apologizing just for existing. This indecision can feel like magic at first. It's a way to keep all possibilities alive and shield us from the risk of failure. But this magic is also just an illusion. It doesn't protect us or lead us to growth. It paralyzes us. This is the stage of choice. The stage where indecision slowly loses its magic. It changes who we are. The small act of not choosing chips away at us until we are a quieter, smaller version of ourselves. We tell ourselves we're waiting for the right moment, the correct moment, the perfect moment. But in that waiting, we become someone who hesitates, second guesses, someone constantly overshadowed by what if. Sure, Mozart might have been a prodigy, and Dutch girls were sailing all around the world, but that's not the point. The point is we all have our own journeys, and hesitating only keeps us from starting them. And that's what I want to talk about today. How we can break free from this endless cycle of indecision and actually embrace the power of making clear, intentional decisions. First of all, the consequences of indecision are real. Missed opportunities, regret, anxiety. Psychologists like Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman has called this loss aversion. The idea that the pain of losing is so much more powerful than the pleasure of gaining. We focus so much on what we might lose. What if I fail? What if I regret it? What if I look stupid? That we forget what we might gain. It's not just about missing out on opportunities. It's about letting fear dictate our lives. We get so caught up in weighing options, the pros and the cons, that we forget not making a choice is still a choice. and it's often the worst one of all. But here's the thing. The solution is actually pretty simple. Because making clear choices is how we take control of our lives. Every single decision, big or small, shapes who we are. Even wrong choices build confidence and resilience. When I was around 12 or 13, I dragged my dad to the pet store and pointed at a kitten with the utmost confidence. I want that. My dad asked, but who's gonna stop it from scratching everything? I replied, again, with utmost confidence, I'll do it. But who's gonna feed it? I'll do it. But who's gonna clean up its feces? Mom. See, Mom. I'm not touching that. Fast forward to day one of kitten ownership. This furball was not the well-behaved gentleman I thought he was. No, he was a tiny tornado of destruction. He scratched the curtains, which I did not stop, jumped off the second floor, which I did not see, and constantly rammed himself into glass doors, which my brother and I thought was hilarious, so we just let him keep doing it, and that's probably why he's stupid now. By the end of the week, I was exhausted, trying to stop this little thing from killing himself. My mom ended up doing everything I promised to do, and I started regretting it. But I owned that decision. I didn't blame the cat. I learned how to clean up messes, take care of him, and eventually grew to love him with all my heart, even if he is kind of weird. That choice, as messy as it was, taught me more than any perfect decision ever could. Plus, now we have 2 adorable little cats. They're my babies, I love them, so it was all worth it. So, how do we start making clear, better, determined choices? First, we have to be clear on what we want. Having clarity about your core values and goals help narrow down on your options. Ask yourself, what matters most to me? What kind of life do I want to live? Second, reframe the risks. Instead of focusing on what you might lose, ask yourself, what can I gain? What is the best case scenario? Because here's the truth. There is no such thing as a perfect choice. Every decision you make comes with trade-offs. But the real mistake isn't making the wrong choice. It's not making one at all. Finally, you have to set a realistic time and a plan to finish your decisions. Give yourself a reasonable timeline to make a clear, concrete decision and stick to it. Fear only gives you more time to think irrationally about things. Like 1 minute you're debating on a weekend trip, and the next you're imagining yourself as a professional dog sledder in Alaska. Spoiler, you won't. Alaska is freezing and the huskies will probably drag you through the snow instead. The point is, indecision doesn't just stall you. It sends you down wild, unrealistic rabbit holes that distract you from the actual choice at hand. So, set a deadline, make a decision, and move forward. So today, finally, in the next 24 hours, I ask of all of you to make one small decision. Try new food. Talk to someone you've been meaning to for a while now. Watch something other than that one show you've watched 5 times. Whatever it is, commit to it fully. Because every choice toward becoming the best version of yourself. And if it doesn't work out, well, at least you're not freezing in Alaska being dragged by giant dogs. But one final message from yours truly. Indecision is the real enemy. Not bad airplane food. Not Mozart or little Dutch girls. Not a tiny, cute tornado of fur. Just you. Standing in your own way. Now, what you decide to do with that information, well, that's kind of up to you now, isn't it? Thank you.